So, as promised, I was going to start this off by talking on the Beast Within, and technically we have. But that being said, we'll go back to Return of the Living Dead. Featured in my last video, something I wanted to bring up. I thought about it afterwards. How are we going to get this? Look at that, wonderful. Joe Bob goes back to the drive-in. Joe Bob Briggs, the greatest movie reviewers of all time. This is basically a collection of his movie reviews that were released syndicated in these newspapers, these all 80s clippings. He did a review of Return of the Living Dead, Zombie and Spam Canisters. If you can't read that, well, I'll tell you. Return of the Living Dead is the greatest face-eating gut spewer since Basket Case and deserves serious consideration, one of the finest zombie exploding head comedies of all time. What we got here is a bunch of corpses that the U.S. Army decides to stick in pressurized Spam canisters, perfectly preserving them like giant Star-Kissed tunas on Quaaludes. But a bunch of guys in the mailroom get the cadavers confused with sea rations and ship the human spam specimens off to a medical supply warehouse in Louisville, Kentucky. Before you know it, the canisters spring and leak. What we got? If you've ever been to Louisville, Kentucky on a Saturday night, you know what we got. Brain-eating zombies walking around downtown going, you got 20 cents for a blood transfusion? Maybe I should spare you that. That's a short review. Of course, as soon as one of these zombies get out of the can, it's all over the two Rhodes Scholars that found him. Here's the best part of it, though. First, they try to kill the zombie with a pickaxe through the head. Don't bother him. Then they saw off his head. No way, Jose Feliciano. He just keeps on talking and twitching. Then they start chopping up into little pieces and sticking parts of him in hefty bags. But what they end up with is a bunch of hefty bags that hop around like Mexican jumping beans. Pretty soon they go across the street and talk the funeral parlor into burning the hefty bags in the crematorium. But all that does is shoot a bunch of zombie gas out of the top of the building and turn some punk rockers into naked heavy metal foaming at the mouth contestants of Star Search. The bottom line here is everybody gets real sick, especially when the zombies start eating their brains. Zombie-rama. We got 10 breasts, 2 zombie breasts, 125 zombies, body count 19 plus fragments. Mummy dogs, one half zombie dog, 10 gallons blood, brain eating. Gratuitous embalming, naked punk rocker fondue, gratuitous midget zombie, torso S&M, one motor vehicle chase totaled by zombies, heads roll, brains roll, arms roll, hands roll, drive-in Academy War nomination for Linnea Quigley for taking off all of her clothes in the graveyard. Hey, did I mention Linnea Quigley is in this movie? She's a very famous B-movie queen. Scream queen of the 80s in tons and tons of movies. That's the probably her most famous role. Anyway, Drive-In Academy Award nomination for Linnea Quigley for taking off all of her clothes in the graveyard, flash dancing like Jennifer Beals and Crystal, and saying, "Do you ever fantasize about horrible ways of dying?" Don Calfa as Ernie the Mortician for getting attacked by an arm, and Dan O'Bannon, the writer and director, the same guy that wrote Alien. We're talking 4 stars. Joe Bob says, check it out. Remember, it's not my review. It's Joe Bob goes back to the review by Joe Bob Briggs. Introduction by Wayne Newton. Let's see who put this out. Should get as much copyright information out as possible. I mean, I'll forget yanked. What do I care? But I just wanted to add that onto this. That being said, we can actually move on with this video. It's supposed to be about my one-sheet poster collection. And hopefully I got time. I got 2 more posters. Try to cover them up. This will probably be the last video. This is The Beast Within, early 80s. Joe Bob Briggs did a review of this movie as well. This came at the time where over-the-top effects in horror movies were quite common. A lot of prosthetic stuff. You had movies like The Howling and An American Werewolf in London, which both had fantastic transformation scenes, at least for their day and age. And this one actually has a transformation scene, though this is not a werewolf movie. This guy basically transforms into a giant katydid and then starts raping women. Hey, sounds good, doesn't it, kids? Not as good as it sounds, fortunately. It was alright. Flick, the effects were pretty good in this day. Basically, a couple go out and get attacked in the woods. A woman gets attacked and raped. She gives birth to a kid. And 17 years later, he starts acting funny. So they go back to the town where she was raped to get some answers, and they start finding information about the guy and the thing that attacked her. Basically, her kid's going to turn into a monster as well. That's Beast Within. Very simple image. I didn't pay too much. It's probably around $10 poster. It was definitely under 20, but yeah, I wouldn't pay a lot for this kind of imagery, but it's very simple and neat. The movie was okay, and I got it for cheap, so that is The Beast Within. And here it is, the last of my one-sheet collection, except for the ones I can't find, which would be Desire and Hell at Sunset Motel, which was my very first one-sheet I ever bought, but I'm not sure. It's packed away in a box, so I'd have to go find and dig it out, and it's just not going to happen, because I don't want to go look. So we got a Frenzy of Blood. This is actually a double feature with I Dismember Mama and the Blood Splattered Bride. It features the Upchuck Cup. Keep it handy. It may be required on short notice during the showing of I Dismember Mama and Blood Splattered Bride. Not for the squeamish or the faint of the heart. So, a couple low-budget 70s movies. Double features used to be a staple, especially the low-budget horror flicks since the 50s, definitely the 60s. It kind of continued in the 70s. Movie companies would take two of their cheaper flicks and put them together, and you get it for one price. Basically what you're getting here. And this poster even proves how they would put movies together, because they actually has a poster for both movies on it, because they would sell these movies together. Something else I wanted to point out, look this up on YouTube, or if maybe some of you guys have seen it, I actually have a bunch of DVD collections, nothing but trailers, and actually has a trailer for I Dismember Mama and the Blood Splattered Bride. If you can find the full trailer, which is 3-4 minutes long, it's a pretty amusing trailer. It's basically guys are coming out, people are coming out of the theater, and there's a reporter interviewing the people coming out of the theater and talking about how horrifying it is. It's actually kind of a comedy trailer. But it's the 70s, this is a double feature. I thought it was kind of neat. I like that they actually featured the Upchuck Cup, which is something they had. When you went to the theater, you got an Upchuck Cup. So, probably none of these left. If there is, I don't know if anybody out there actually has this piece of memorabilia, but it did exist at one point. I've never seen I Dismember Mama. I have seen the Blood Splattered Bride. I heard Tarantino's a real big fan of it. I thought it was kind of boring. I didn't really get into it. It was an okay flick. Like I said, I haven't seen I Dismember Mama, so I couldn't really tell you a lot about that. I should get around to watching it at some point. Some kind of sticker on my poster. Let's go away. I'll tell you what, I'll peel that off after the video. But this, folks, is the very last one. How much time I got left? Oh, I got 5 minutes? I was rushing for nothing. I thought I wasted a lot of time doing that review, so I guess it took a little bit longer, but it's probably be a little shorter video. Some other stuff I might do other series down, like I have original soundtracks of vinyl. I might show some of those. That probably just do that, of course, one video. Something else, since we're on the poster talk, I have all these poster books. Shock horror, astounding artwork from the video nasty era. In England, a bunch of movies. During the early 80s, there was a big backlash against horror. A lot of VH stores actually get rated for having certain movies. And these feature posters, the British versions of those posters. But I got tons of books like that. I got 60 great horror movie posters. I warned you not to go out tonight. It's put out by Bruce Hirschison, who actually I got most of these posters off his website. You can go to emovieposter.com. Do a lot of auctions. He does have fixed items. This guy's been in business for over 20 years. About as legitimate as you're going to get. And you can find some good deals on there. These are all full color pages. One of his better books. This one happens to be a horror. Older ones. You got Cat People and Mummies too. Kind of works its way through time. You get to at least through the 80s. We got Creepazoids and Reanimator. Basket Case. A Nightmare on Elm Street poster I would love to have, as I mentioned in the earlier video, but it does not go for cheap. It's one of my all-time favorite posters. Plus, I'm a big fan of the original. Got Q. But this is a sci-fi version, basically, of the horror. This is also put out by Bruce Hirschison. I mentioned Basil Gogos, famous monster movie art of Basil Gogos, but this features a lot of work he did for men's books and magazines. He's best known for doing, this is one of them right here, an image that was used on that magazine for famous monster movies of Filmland. This is Lon Chaney from London After Dark. But he did... This is for, I forget now. I can't see the name. But he did, like I said, adventure magazine covers and such. There's some of his horror things he painted. We're down a couple of minutes, and I just wanted to Yeah, I may get into this a little bit. I'm not going to sit here and show every page, but I just want to mention I do have some poster books. I got Trash, this is Exploitation, movie posters, some more Exploitation. There's this Chelsea Girls is a really good one. Another horror one here. Like I said, and as far as one-sheets, I used to collect these pretty heavily. I kind of got out of it because of money issues, plus I wanted to get frames for some of these posters, and getting frames for it's very expensive, but I hope to do it one day so I can display some of this stuff. Eventually I like to get back, when I get some more money, I like to get back into collecting, and hopefully I'll get at least a few more this year. And if I do, perhaps I'll share it with you guys. But that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed all my one-sheets. I might do kind of a revisited thing. I might go back through my collection, check in a few if I want to give additional information, or maybe I'll just show you my favorite images. But that's it for now. Thank all you guys who sat through all these videos watching these.